Greetings. Give honor to Source, to the Creator, the Most High. I'm trying to do this video before my son gets up. I was just sitting here reflecting and came into some deep clarity about something. Especially like, let's give honor to the ancestors too, yeah. Known and unknown. But I was reflecting here, and I was telling myself, like, I was sitting here reflecting, and I was telling myself, when you think about trauma, when you think about experience, when you think about a lot of things that happen when it comes to life and so forth. Now, we've had people who have not faced experiences, whether unresolved emotions, unresolved trauma, whatever it be, then in a way they have to be the ones who have tried to escape life through whatever it is, through whatever, like substance abuse, through whatever it is. So I asked myself this as a cycle breaker or a generational curse breaker, as someone who is, now I'm starting to get clarity, like how I'm realizing how I'm really, it can seem 10 steps ahead of a lot of people. And reason being is because if I'm not trying to chase or be concerned about what everybody else is doing, or even try to escape the reality, my escape, whether unconsciously, because I'm telling you, people unconsciously who haven't faced things are literally trying to escape through whatever experiences that they never made peace with. So I asked myself this, am I, and you know, you can ask yourself this, am I creating a life I'm trying to escape from, or am I trying to create a life that I don't have to escape from? That I'm not trying to escape. Let me say that again. Am I creating a life that I'm trying to escape from? Or am I creating a life that I'm not trying to run or escape from at all? I think I wanted to word it differently. Yeah, I'm creating a life I don't have to escape, basically. And see, again, that wouldn't make sense to a lot of people, but now I'm getting a deep clarity of the delusion, or even the false, the illusion cast upon people of what whether it be American dream or even others' belief system on even how you should be. Because you ask yourself, what are they trying to escape? What are they trying to escape from? Even when I think about the whole race card, or even, you know, there's a human race, but then you have people who will literally try to escape from connecting with people, living amongst them, and use racism to escape from the reality of being themselves or being amongst people. And what comes up is this transit about, you know, those of you that don't follow astrology, this transit, what is it? Saturn now entering Aries and Neptune in Aries. But it was both coming from Pisces. So it's like the fog is clearing from the emotions, from the subconscious, things spiritually and so forth. So many different things from the subconscious coming up to be cleared. So much clarity. And I asked myself, what have I tried to escape from? And with who? And what other things that I've tried to take on to even assume that what is there to escape? It made me think about a song, who can I run to fill this empty, what is it, empty void or empty pain? Who can I run to when I need love, sweet love? Shout out to Escape, because now I see that song, I'm thinking about, like, who do you run to? Do you run to yourself, or are you looking outside of yourself for that love? Isn't that a form of escapism? If you're looking outside for something that will never validate you, or that will never fulfill you, whether that be a person, whatever it is, is that not a form of escaping what you need to deal with, what you haven't accepted? That's how I look at a lot of relationships, or even when we were never taught the importance of what a healthy relationship is with ourselves first. And now I'm realizing that we are at the new order or new beginnings of something monumental that the world has never witnessed before. Whether that be collective, individually, collectively, and so forth. And it's amazing because I realize I'm a part of something. I'm trailblazing some shit that is like something I couldn't even really put into words. Because it's literally taking everything from those transits that happen in Pisces, the emotional aspect of it, the spiritual aspect, so many different parts of it, and now this headstrong, or even this energy of Aries, this fire, is now like a phoenix, or even not even just a phoenix, it's something even more monumental, or something that, again, we're pioneering. So again, I'm asking myself, if our mothers and fathers or people of generations before us never sat down with what they had to feel and so forth, there is no excuses to the fact that they have been trying to escape. And some of us too have been a part of that, because we continue certain cycles as well. We've also been a part of continuing that loophole until it stops with us. But the world or people or other things have tried to convince us that if we're not trying to be in the loop, or if we're not a part of this fashion, or if we're not a part of this society, we're not a part of this spiritual cult, or we're not a part of just anything, whatever you want to bring up, then it's not valuable. And that's so far from universal truth, or just authenticity, or uniqueness, or individual, like being your own individual self. So I'm sitting here like, whoa, the veil has been lifted. And so again, I ask myself, have I been creating the life I've been trying to escape from? And especially when you're not able to sit with your shadows, sit with yourself, whether you know it or not, you're unconsciously playing out patterns, learned behavior patterns that you are trying to escape from. We all do it, depending on what our upbringing is. And then that's a part of the conflict avoidance as well. Avoiding a solution is also a part of the fact of realizing, what are you running from? Who are you running to for the solution? As the elder one said, the greatest knowledge on earth is the knowledge not just of self, but for one to find a solution to one's problem. Meaning that my mom and dad don't have all the answers for me, even though I was a part of their experience, even though they supported me in coming into this world. They don't have every answer or solution for my own individual journey. So therefore, there's some accountability that has to be faced on my part, that I can no longer ignore, that I can no longer realize, like, okay, in this learned behavior pattern, or this pattern recognition, there's something that has to change. There's something that has to be integrated. There's something that has to be removed. There's something that has to me come to the realization, what am I trying, or have I been trying to escape through what? And it can look different for a lot of us. If you've been following me, now I don't even like to say follow, if you've been observing, watching from afar, whatever it is, into what I've been doing and talking about, then you know very well I've talked about a lot of patterns personally that I've had to experience, or a lot of things that I had to get to where I am. What I'm trying to find. Get to where I am and so forth, to be who I am, like to come into this awareness and so forth. So I tell myself, like, when I talk about the shadow, what have I been trying to outrun? What have I been trying to escape through? In dealing with traumas, repressed emotions, suppressed things, prolonged grief, complex PTSD, just naming a few things collectively, I ask myself, like, whoa, from that duality, or from that whatever I did not resolve, what haven't I faced? And then in that, what have I been trying to escape through? It's not about being perfect, because in honoring a shadow, it's a part of like living out what you've experienced, having fun. It's not about being this saint to some people, or this, and I'm just saying this jokingly, like, not to attack people's whatever belief system, but like this perfect idea of how they say a nun and a monk. No, it's a balance between honoring, the dark and the light aspect of what genetically makes us all, the feminine and masculine attributes and principles or archetypes. So in that illusion, or the confusion of people, the world wanted us to believe, or tell me to believe, like, oh gosh, you have to be a certain way, you have to do this. But in the totality of, I realize a lot of these people, not only are they fake, but they're inauthentic, and they've been trying to escape from everything on so many levels, not just with themselves, but on so many levels. Running from themselves, and then trying to convince me, or tell me, in what I'm creating, what I'm doing, that it's not either in alignment, it has no value, it has no purpose. It's so many different things, but all the while I'm looking at people who have so much to say, or can have so much to say, and recognizing the energy, and I realize not only are they still doing the same thing, but there's no substance. They're not building towards anything else, because in the same behavior patterns, in the same pattern recognition, they're going to continue to get the same results. They're not literally trying to master or through that. And let me give you an example. With a gift such as my artistry, what you don't see is the experiences outside of, whether you see me here or in my day-to-day life or whatever. You don't know nothing about that. You only know what I share here, or what I post social media, whatever it is. Either with that, no one knows the depths of the emotion and mastery, that self-mastery that you have to go through to navigate through that. So with that, again, that can be, when I'm saying I'm building a life that I don't have to escape from, there is a difference between building towards a life that people are escaping to not feel, to not honor, and so forth. So therefore you have people, what is that quote? Are you going to live life? Are you going to live 1 year 100 times? Or are you going to live 100 years? No, what is it? Are you going to live 100 years one time? Or are you going to live, man, what is that quote? Are you going to live 100 years one time? Or are you going to live 1 year? Are you going to live, what is it? There's an opposition to it, or duality. Are you going to live 1 year 100 times? Or are you going to live 100 years one time? It was something. I got to find that quote again. But it's basically saying, like, you have people unconsciously, or due to their familiarity, or due to what they're comfortable with, they're living the same energy out, playing out repetitively for so long. But in their minds, due to whatever cognitive, distances, whatever, I keep jacking that word up, but due to their dissociation or whatever it is, or disconnect from source or within themselves, they're either aware, or they're telling themselves or convince themselves that they are creating a life, but yet they're unhappy with the results. So I ask myself again, when I look at other people's life, it's no judgment, it's just observing. And I'm looking like, it may not make sense to you because of, even though my life doesn't look like yours or anything, what you don't realize is the tools, the things that I've had to use to build towards a life that I know I deserve, I desire to. And on a bigger scale than that, it's building towards a life I don't have to escape from. Now, reflecting, there were moments where, again, due to the fact of when I wasn't self-aware of the things I was going through, what I was going through, what I went through in childhood and so forth, how all those things come full circle. So in that unconscious awareness, I was creating a life I was trying to escape from. Mother wound, father wounds, or whatever it is that I did not want to feel, I did not want to acknowledge and so forth. So in that can create patterns of running away, escaping, jumping to the next relationship. Nothing really structured and solid. So the difference between that is someone having those same results but convincing themselves that they don't, or they're just living life. What is that quote? Like living, basically living 1 year 100 times, other than living out 100 years without doing the same thing. It's like, are you living to experience and expand and enjoy and embrace life? But and that's where the inner child aspect comes in. Reconnecting to that part of yourself, that essence, reminds me to like, when I'm painting and stuff, like today is what they call Love Day, and starts with a V when I'm recording this. But today I've done things to pour into myself, which again, that allows me to balance between creating a life that I don't have to run from. So let me bring this up. The beauty of even fatherhood, being a baba, the beauty of just realizing, like, had I not faced a lot of things and still facing a lot of things internally as a man and so forth, or just as a human being, it's more so realizing what keeps me from enjoying the present. Why do I want to escape this? What is this partnership or relationships that show me what am I trying to run away from? And see, I noticed a pattern with that even when it came to men in my family. It's like, in your laying down with that woman, there's a responsibility and consequences that come with that. In people putting out a certain energy, whether they want to not deal with people, whether lighter shade, darker shade, whatever it is, there is consequences to that. There is an energy that you set intentions that return to you. When it comes to anything that people are doing, the abuse of power and so forth, or whatever their intentions behind it, how are you bothered by the results? Those are the lessons. So I tell myself, I know of people, not just people in my family, but seeing the pattern of them create and then run away. So it's like, did you create that to escape? Or sometimes we have to realize, like, a lot of people, that's all they seen or all they know was people who never sat with what they done to face it and to even see, again, the deep programming around certain people and demographics who, cognitively don't even see the best results or the best outcome because of how the programming has been for victim mentality, even when they unconsciously aren't aware of it. So overcoming that is one mental battle or spiritual battle, to overcome said cycle or belief system, and knowing how to talk to yourself healthily even when you did not receive it young. So that is one thing as well, in the midst of realizing, in creating my life, how am I creating towards what I don't have to run from? People love to use this term, escaping the matrix. The funny thing about that movie is that in all actuality, I realize there's a duality that I see beyond the surface of that. Again, matrix in Latin means womb. So when you think about pregnancy or procreating, the child is not trying to escape the womb. It's going through the cycles. There's different cycles of the moons. It's going through the different cycles of life to prepare for the unknown, whether, you know, the assignment, the mission at hand. So that was funny, to where it's like how people say escape. And I feel like escaping is rooted in fear. Because if you're trying to escape something, how is that a form of courage if you having to face certain things head on? So that's one thing I had to rid myself of, because of so many different things, where I won't tell people to run from whatever it is going on within you. Embrace it, accept it, and realize like it's certain things where the battle isn't yours. Sometimes certain things in your life is going to show you that, where different lessons are going to prepare you to see, are you equipped? I wasn't always equipped spiritually, mentally, emotionally to face certain things. I had to go through the lessons. I had to go through experiences. I had to personally see it. There were times where I drug people along. That was their lessons to learn from that. So again, even in that, I have no regrets or shame around any decisions and so forth. But now there's more intention towards, I know what type of life I'm creating. I know the intention. No one else can tell me differently. How did I get here? Through the experiences, through remembrance, through recalling my power, taking back my power in certain experiences. So there, again, there's a process. Try not to get him up. So there's a process of coming to the self-realization that you have your solutions. And in that, there's the uncomfortability around the uncomfortability, then the accountability sets in of, I've created this, or I have to see my role. So what am I willing to do? I just got a notification. What is that? So what am I willing to do to, what am I willing to do to create now the life that I know I feel like I have to escape from? So that comes with facing so many things internally. That comes with facing the uncomfortability around, well, I don't have to escape from this person, or I don't have to escape this reality. I don't have to escape anything. I can sit in the wound, or I can sit in whatever it is I need to sit in, recognize my role, recognize the pattern, recognize me, recognize we, whatever it is, and then take the first step towards whatever life that I know that I want to create. I need to create for the betterment of myself and all involved. That comes with a deep acceptance and accountability, not running away, no longer running away. And that's the thing I realized, like, even when you think you can escape something, that's the thing about karma. Karma has, you got karma, then you got dharma, some may call it, to where karma comes around for the lesson and then the dharma from it. So your growth in itself is that, again, you can use the word escape. I'm not trying to tell y'all what to believe and what to, get from that. It's just the mindset around, what are you trying to run from? What are you trying to get away that, instead of saying, what is this teaching me? What am I trying to run from? And in that, even after I get out of what I'm running from, what am I running to? Am I running to myself? Am I running to what's familiar? Am I running to something that I know that isn't safe, healthy, stable? So a lot of things subconsciously, or even just a pattern, in that escapism, are you able to recognize the cycles, the patterns that whether are familiar to you or other people, or even certain things in your family dynamic? What am I trying to escape? This even brings up the things, like, again, with men in my family, that I knew that it's like you're trying to really run away from you, even when you have children. It's like a part of you. A lot of those things bring up so much of your subconscious fears, your personal things. Even with women, a lot of things come up for you to be able to realize, like, is this a pattern ancestrally, generationally, that I need to see, I need to recognize? How am I trying to escape it? It makes me think about, again, in my fatherhood, the the uncomfortable things that would come up that I had to face about what I suppressed for so long, what I repressed through previous relationships, um, the confidence I had to have, rebuild my self-confidence around relationships, people, my approach, my relationship with myself, and how that, again, in that, doing that inner work, facing that shadow, facing myself, that which I was trying to run from, which is that childhood trauma or childhood experience. Like, why am I trying to run from joy? Think about people who actually get up and live life, and if you think deeper, they're running from joy. They're running from happiness. And in their escapism, they try to run to someone else or something for that happiness or joy, for that safety, for that stability. Instead of realizing, well, at some point in time, in that which these results keep coming out the same way, there's something I need. What am I not seeing? And that's when one sits down and recognize, ask yourself, what am I not seeing? What am I not seeing here? What something's not revealing. And it will over time. What I'm telling you, as an observer, as things I start to sit back and recognize, I'm like, yo, this has been going on for too long. It ain't something just with me. It's sometimes you can recognize a pattern in family. You can recognize the things like the behavior patterns. And that's why it takes so much courage to step away, to really step into yourself, to recognize things. You'd be like, oh, like I said, there's certain things I had to learn about me, but then there's certain things I had to realize in learning about me. I still am a representation of the patriarchal. I still am a representation of the matriarchal. Learned behavior through my mom, dad, things that I did not realize that I was experiencing or going through. Patterns that I picked up, I inherited. So y'all may hear me talk about things in regards to the family. There's still a beautiful aspect of the inheritance. Because you got to realize, I had to recognize generational trauma or dysfunctional family, they're creating a life they're trying to escape from. I sat back and I realized alcoholism, eating habits, combativeness, ignoring what's going on with them, projecting onto everybody else, victim mentality, all these different things I can talk about. So in my rebuttal, or in my being myself and going away from that or changing that, because I can move away 3,000, 4,000 miles, but I still, at a time, I realized when I did do that years ago, I was still trying to escape from a previous connection, jumping into something else. So again, it doesn't matter where you go, the energy goes, the memories you suppress, the body keeps the score. It doesn't matter, even if you have children or children. Even if you have kids, oh my gosh, that was so alert. Doesn't matter. The body keeps the score. The memories, things ancestrally, it's still there. Because some of our patterns, if we have went through sexual traumas or dealt with certain things personally, guess what ends up happening? We don't want to acknowledge it, but a lot of our patterns play out through how we have chosen our partners or people, how we have had multiple children by people, and so forth. I'm calling it out because it addresses the fact of escapism. Escaping through sexual traumas, overexerting, over-sexualized, being over-sexualized as women and men, being tired, so many different things that we were not taught or guided to. And realizing and how when we were choosing certain things, we were trying to escape from it. Escape from the pain. Escape from feeling. Escape from, these learned behavior patterns. Or even if they were learned, sometimes we learn them on our own because we didn't know how to parent ourselves. Or we didn't have anyone to support us. So that's what ends up happening. So now that we're here, it's the awareness around now. Again, some of those traumas and experience led us to having children with people that a lot of us are not too fond of right now. And it ain't even just that. It's just the awareness of personal growth, self-awareness, loving yourself, realizing certain decisions that we made. I didn't even really know who this person was. I didn't even know me. So that is something collectively that I've noticed. When it comes to sexual trauma, is a thing that have been held within the body of a lot of our mothers and men too as well. So only for some of them, they only know is how to create a child from trauma bonding, but they're not willing to sit with what's going on. So now they're questioning themselves, why is he here? Why is she here? Whatever the circumstances is. And again, due to the inability from where we never set with stuff, not being able to, not recognizing the fact of you've been trying to escape exactly what your mother was trying to do, your grandmother. Imagine this, how deep, because this comes up for me when I say this. Imagine the women that were forced on. Whether they, in certain situations like that, that memory did not go anywhere. A lot of y'all are carrying that memory. A lot of y'all worst fears or subconscious fears is even that happening to your children if it has happened to you or generationally. Now imagine that fear, or that memory, never seeking therapy or never sitting down with someone, never sitting with yourself when it comes to that. Escapism. Imagine the women who tried to escape, because that's another way of using it, who try to escape the hands of their abusers or escape the grasp. Men and women children too, U.S. children, try to escape the beatings, try to escape, through other ways. And the reason I'm going to the root cause of that is because it brings up the awareness that we carry these patterns, we carry these things in our minds, we carry it in our body, things we've ignored. So now guess what? Sometimes we will play this out and try to escape through relationships, try to escape through something that makes us feel secure, safe, or familiar to that memory, to that pain, to that trauma. Because a lot of us don't even recognize the trauma bonds we have been in, and even the inherited trauma bonds. The inherited trauma bonds. Intergenerational trauma. Through marriage, through relationships, through so many different things. There's things I've experienced. I tell myself, I'm grateful for therapy. I'm not saying it works for everybody, but I'm grateful for the fact of, even through learning about it, there's certain things it still taught me I have a solution for. Or it's okay to still be open to some type of support that's healthy. That's a form of healthy, instead of trying to escape by going to the next relationship, or even escaping through a familiar pattern, trying to talk to the people that I would never get a solution from. I would never get answers or apologies from. Escaping outside of myself to try to find that, to try to seek that. Somebody needed that, for real. Because again, even in that form of trying to look outside of ourselves for that said solution, that answer, and so forth. And externally things do come. Clarity comes through certain things universally. We've been so far away from ourselves, disconnected from who we are, and that's simply because of what we saw as a sponge growing up. Saw people. I'm telling you, most of my experience growing up, that's all I saw. Most of it. So it's every day, it's an experience and challenge in showing up for myself. That takes consistency. It's just as much consistent inconsistency of people not showing up for themselves. I saw consistently I saw people who were inconsistent in being consistent with not showing up for themselves, with trying to escape through their work, try to escape through things that they didn't even recognize that were uncomfortable. It's just what they knew. This is all they knew, all they've known most of their life. So of course, it's not going to make sense to them. It's not going to, a lot of what I say, what I do, for some of us, it's not going to make sense. It's not going to bring clarity for some of them, because they're so set in their ways. Some people they're so set in their ways, like an alarm clock. They got when you set an alarm clock for 5:30 a.m. every day for the rest of your life, that's how set people are in their ways. It's like their behavior patterns are like an alarm clock. If they don't do certain things, it throws off their whole day. So you gotta imagine how consistent people have been in their dysfunction, in their dysregulated nervous system, in their being unease and projecting onto people, in their inability to love themselves, in so many different things. We talk about generations. We talk about so many different things here. So again, ask yourself, or when you really sit down, you will recognize the fact that the world has given off this illusion, and the society and so forth. Everybody, even through trends, even through whatever they've been doing. I told you, once you remove certain things are collapsing and shifting right now. It's going to highlight what people have tried to escape through. And it doesn't matter what their status is, how much money they have, what type of title that they have. If they didn't have certain things because of what the old narrative and the old world was built on, that was their form of escapism. Basketball, football, money, no one's exempt. Because the whole system, the old world narrative, the templates, the foundations were built on preying on our childhood woundings. So in that, everyone collectively, whether they knew it or not, developed some type of way of trying to escape. Or in that escapism, conflict avoidance. When you look at the root of what racism, self-hatred, any way to divide people, that energy has collectively got to a peak or this point to where the very thing that divides us, I told y'all, is going to bring us together. It's going to bring you to you, and then it's going to bring that balance between you and we, or me. I like to say me and we. That's what it's going to do. So in that, running from yourself, trying to escape through external shit, it's always something that's going to bring you back to yourself. Oh, there's always something. So again, ask yourself, am I creating a life that I've been trying to escape from? And for one thing that came up, even when it comes to some of us childhood experiences, whether it be abusers and so forth, again, have you created a life that you try to run from? Are there not things you need to talk about? Think about people in the family that have been molested or something that happened like that. Again, some of them unconsciously are living a life to where they're trying to numb themselves from acknowledging what truly happened to them. And their body keeps the score. Imagine something like that when you're young or whatever age that you were, and especially as women, your womb has kept the score. Your womb has kept memory of that. You see how deep that shit is mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? Because your body kept the score of that. I was talking about something previously, like even through one of my videos y'all gonna be able to see how when women and men go through their spiritual healing, it's different because women feel first. So imagine our mothers and great grandmothers and so forth who never felt through the abuse that they endured, who never sat with the anger and the rage that comes up around them being told that was okay by the abuser, or the family, people who brush it aside. They never sat with that anger. And a lot of you don't realize you're carrying that shit. You carrying that. And then some of you, I got to say this too, because Divine's like, even in your carrying that, you never set any boundaries to where when you grew up, where you didn't have a woman to tell you how important that was to protect your womb or to guard that and see the importance of it in spiritually, mentally, emotionally. So let's say whether something unfortunate happened to you like that, guess what ends up happening? Now, depending on the circumstances, you gain this resentment or this anger, all this built up animosity, whatever it is, and now your trajectory on life, and you develop a belief system around men, on all men, because you hold an image, or that pain that you never set with, you hold an image of it in your body, in your mind's eye. Men too. That's, I carry the image of what I went through in my body of women, of what, in my mind's eye. That's what a mother wound or father wound is. You carry it, not only an image, because not only is the mind powerful, but you carry it in your heart space, in different parts of your chakra. Because think about if you never set with the emotions. That means that energy has to come up from the root chakra, because you built a life on stabilizing yourself around escaping through whatever had brung harm to you. So now you stabilize yourself from being a runner, running from what you need to feel from. Just imagine how many people have built. I mean, when you look at these structures that have been in place, it's literally built around trauma. It's built around childhood trauma and experience. Think about how deep this shit is. It's not built around y'all sitting and healing with yourself. It's built around making sure you loop through trauma. Look at social media. I be looking at this shit, I'm like, bro, there's certain things I don't got away from. I can watch something and I can feel the anger when I see someone just fighting and shit. I'm like, why is this shit popping up on my feed? I don't even live this life no more. But you know what's familiar? It's the nervous system. A lot of y'all that even when the trauma happened or the experience, your nervous system was never the same. In your inability to never sit with it, your body was still dysregulated. That means you held a memory. Imagine the memory in your womb, in your pelvic area, in your, in these places where, it has kept you from really feeling what the depths of who you are emotionally, mentally, spiritually, without receiving that clarity. So now you've created a life around that. And this is not shame and guilt. It's to bring that up around it. Because it's going to bring that up. It's prolonged grief. A part of a lot of y'all who experienced something like that, a part of you felt numb. I mean, again, it's like a dead feeling inside. You never felt safe even after that. You convinced yourself that you were. I went through that. I convinced myself I was safe. But I had so much, when I was touched on young and stuff, and when I was beat on, I convinced myself. The world tried to convince me, and especially as an indigenous man or a darker man, that I was supposed to go on through life feeling safe. When I'm just now at 36 realizing how, even if not caring, because the world wanted to convince me to escape the feeling, escape the experience. Because I was around people who've been trying to escape their experiences, what they went through their whole life. And that's the thing about the unsafe feeling. Because once you start regulating your nervous system, you have to go through what dysregulated that shit. You have to go through the fact of how much I ignored what didn't make me feel safe. Or what I ignored, the unsafe cues, the verbal, nonverbal cues, or the unsafe. That's why I ran away when I was young. I was trying to escape the abuser. I was trying to run away. I was trying to get away. I didn't know how to create a life outside of that. So it's not just a physical thing. It's a mental and emotional thing that we try to escape through and from. So again, that trauma, the things never leave you. That little girl, that little boy, whatever they happen, is still right there. In your fucking memory, it's still right there. If you've never addressed it, you never apologized, because you never felt that you had to apologize. Tell me, I was there. I carry stuff that I didn't even know that bothered me. And that's what the resentment that I had towards women, because of what I experienced with my mother, that had nothing to do with no other woman on this planet, in this realm, in this reality. Especially my daughter. Especially her mother as well. So again, on a bigger picture, it's the fact of how majority of the collective of people are, when I think about the walking dead, that's what it is. People are dead in the inside. Because when you think about developing eating habits, trying to escape from feeling, It's so many different ways that this can come up when you have dealt with complex PTSD or when you dealt with something traumatic. Again, that's the beauty of when you learning, like it's deep, like to realize, like, I used to actually assume that people had it better than me. But I realized this whole time, it's their ticking time bomb, just like I was. They're a ticking time bomb because how much you gonna keep allowing yourself to hold and hoard those emotions? And that's how I see why violence can ensue. Or that's why I can see why certain things are going to transpire, because people have held on to so much, and in that not knowing how to regulate who you are or having a support system, man, you develop patterns of unhealthy attachments. You develop so many different things because those unhealthy attachments stem from that trauma, stem from that root, the root of what you've experienced. Marriages, relationships, businesses, contracts with certain things. Whole time you convince yourself that it's normal. And that's what's so fucked up about everything. You convince yourself it's been normal. And let me tell you how deep it goes. It's like, that's how it affects your, like for me, how much it affected my stability around my emotions, which are connected to how I build a relationship with myself and everyone else. Emotional safety. What type of life I want to live, where, who, and so forth. So that's the thing about when you look at even the energy around not what people, I realize when they talk about what indigenous people, I mean, they use the term black or whatever it is, that's basically when they say something about that is what they've held on to and what other people have avoided, and that cannot be, avoided much longer. And so think about the people who have held anger for so many years and generations towards how they've been treated. My father talking about how he had rocks thrown at him as a child, going to school. How is I as a man not feel something from that? Not just emotional empathy, but the fact of, the fear or something that comes up around that. So with that, what has happened is when you look at the climate of the representation of people that are dark and what they have endured, not all, because, I tell y'all, there's more to it. It's a deeper aspect. I'm talking about in America, in certain places and other places. I'm just talking about from experience. It's natural for them to try to, when you see people, the psychological warfare, even the illusion, how music and certain things, how it was used to manipulate, to confuse, or even to reach the masses in a way, because really what it promotes is escapism because of the fear. Because when you see how some of them are used and trolled to be puppeteering around to try to use their arts or, their magic or their energy to give off this mask or illusion of, this is how I made it out. But in reality, nigga, whomever you are, whatever you're doing, is it rooted in escapism? Because it don't matter how far you go, because if you're promoting alcoholism, whatever the root cause of it, whatever you're promoting, you're basically promoting to the youth or to the masses to escape from feeling. Not all music, but y'all know where you follow me? You see where I'm getting at? Vibe with me now. It's when you see certain music to where it channels or it triggers a certain emotion. It's promoting them to escape or use that emotion to abuse instead of love and honoring and sitting with it. It's used to what? To push a certain narrative. So now as their world is crumbling, what they knew and so forth, when it comes to that energy, now this is alchemized. Now, when you realize, like, even how they preyed on your wound is where it's telling women, have no morals, have no nothing, because if you're talking about women who have already dealt with that young, and now they're numb to the feeling of their intuition, to feeling, of course they want to go and be a part of Freak Nick. Of course they want to go be a part of stuff that has no sense of, you know, stability or morality and so forth. Because a lot of that shit will take them through a place of realizing, you know, is that really the life that are you trying to escape from something? What's the root cause from it? Are you creating a life you're trying to escape from, or are you trying to create a life that you don't have to escape? Because the difference is, that's one that's rooted in truth and authenticity and integrity, that doesn't fear. The other one is rooted in fear. Fear of the consequences. Fear of what comes back around. Fear. Fear and authenticity, truth, love, whatever you want to call it. So again, a world that has uphold fear. That's what fuels the escapism. That's why you don't have people. Because love will have your ass being accountable for yourself, your well-being, your mentality, your emotional well-being, and so forth. And in that love for self, you will see the connection to other people. So in your accountability to show up for you, you will see that there's an accountability or a balance to show up for others. Where's your leaders? Where's whomever it is in your life discussing these things? Where are they? Where are your spiritualists or people, your teachers and so forth? Where are they? Because they use the same tools. Oh, buy this, do this, this, you know, in a way of manipulating to try to get a way of you trying to escape from fucking feeling. See, one thing about the fact that what has changed now, because we as people who are on a such journey when it comes to men and women are going through this healing or spiritual healing and so forth, again, there's a difference between the energy that is rooted in fear or rooted in manipulation and deception. Yes, people can get money. That's how they've been doing. Like the person that show up, we know when we were young on the, you know, selling the anointment, the oil and shit. Yeah, manipulation, deception. But then when you have people such as myself, other artists and so forth, that are coming from a genuine, authentic energy, because we've had to come out and go through the world of deception, fear, and so forth. And in that, we had to navigate from that and through it to get to a place of integrity, authenticity, and so forth. Even when people and energies and so forth were trying to pull us into the fear of not having, fear of this, fear of a life, you know, all these different deceptions and trickster spirits or whatever it is to keep you from realizing that you didn't come here to just suffer, or you didn't come here to live in fear. You didn't come here to do that. You come here to conquer it, to overcome it, to alchemize it. Fear of people and generations or their family not obtaining or not receiving clarity, of, you know, spiritual warfare, not getting clarity, of pain. You know, so many different aspects of it can be seen on many levels. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. It's not just obtaining shit. You know how many people out here have obtained shit? But now they, you know, I'm gonna use that term, the devil coming to collect now, because they realize intentions and all the shit that they have built on was through violence, was through destruction, was through chaos, in a way of like pushing fear onto people. There's consequences from that. That's universal law. The seeds that they sowed, now they have to harvest. Projecting their fears onto other people because of what the world they lived into. Because they was in a world believing like, oh, I have to promote fear, I have to do this, step on other people to get what I want, not what you need. So again, going back to the fact of us creating things from an authentic place, as the energy shifts, it's going to shift towards that beauty of people seeking and wanting that, to get clarity, because there's activations, there's authenticity, there's things that will shift the perspective, the energy in what people put out. So in that deception and control over things monetarily, who gets to reach the masses, who gets to do this and do that, though, that time is up. That world is over. It's done, collapsed, because the people who promoted that and influenced it are most of the boomers or people generationally, the leaders or whoever it is. They were a part of that, and their energy is collapsing. Their energy is being removed. That energy in itself, the shift of power, is already here. This is the alchemical process that we're experiencing right now. The darkness into the light. That which gave false empowerment, devaluing people, dehumanizing, now will bring forth something that structure in the opposite of that. Empowering people, empowering ourselves, treating people like the humans that they are. Not have to devalue them by the color of their skin, by whatever nation, whatever place they live in. Who makes the rules? Who's bigger than Source? Who's greater than the Most High? Who has more power than me, outside of me? Where am I giving my energy to? Because if I'm listening to these people, whatever it is, it seems like to me they're trying to escape the accountability, the consequences of what the seeds that they planted. I know the seeds I planted. So no one else can find a solution better than me. They may can support through it, but no one else can find said clarity, solution. And it may come through relationship, partnership, experience, and so forth. But who else can give that to me? Because it's always been in here. Man, the beautiful moments we are in, boy. That shift it's been here. It's an amazing thing. And that's why, again, you'll realize that most of the people with certain monetary or certain positions that they're not exempt from karma. Y'all don't realize this. Where they going to escape through? Where they going to escape to? Even on a bigger scale of things, those who know on a deep spiritual soul level, okay, you can think you can run and hide, but there is no hiding from the divine mother or this matriarchal that's, this system, this shift in power. There is no running. You can go as far as, unaliving yourself, in a sense, for some people who try to escape. But for those on a deeper level, and I don't encourage things like that, 'cause I know people who have, who are in desperate need of support when it comes to such things like that. I mean to those who, y'all will see people try to escape through the fact of running from consequences, from running from the seeds that they planted. And even with that on a grander scale, go ahead and reincarnate. Go ahead and go through the experience. You're not exempt. That's just a for some people, a way of just trying to run from, because there's so many ways to really speak on that topic, because some people are trying to run from things and then some people aren't. Sometimes it gets to that place where they do give up. They do feel like they don't have nothing to live for. My condolences and my healing love, sending healing and clarity to people around that, who have dealt with something as such, because you should definitely look into prolonged grief, because some people are still holding on to the fact of them even assuming that there isn't a life without them. But there is. And I say they are, meaning like they are with you in spirit. They are with you. So with that, again, there's no one is exempt. Everyone here has an experience and coming here to learn. Everyone here is the old world narrative wanted people to believe like you actually think with this abundance of everything in this world, with so many things, that y'all actually believe people are really supposed to be suffering like this. That's who told you that? Who told you that? Who convinced you of that? Like, no. And that's another thing that starts some different levels, because it's just like when I recognize a dysfunctional pattern of family, you're basically trying to tell me I should stay in this to suffer, to not get to know me, to not live out my destiny and my purpose. I should stay in this for the sake of the family and not go and build on something or create a life around that could benefit all of us. I should stay around and pretend like everything's okay. I should just stay and just lollygag, and I should just know. No. Because I recognize in that the same behavior patterns people were doing, going through, and so forth. And in that not tolerating no more, I had to realize that's boundaries. See, setting boundaries is actually creating a life I don't have to escape from. I don't have to run from. People who don't have boundaries, that says a lot. Because they're basically allowing anyone to have accessibility to them at any moment, or they want to be accessible around people, again, to keep from feeling, to keep from realizing that you're creating a life around that. You're trying to escape through whatever you feel, what type of void or whatever you felt that you didn't have or accept. And you see it on all levels. I don't care how much glitz and glams people have. There's a difference between being rich in spirit than actually, you can have, it's okay to have, what y'all call worldly riches and so forth. But there's a difference between actually honoring that within yourself, your purpose, your soul calling. So I'm gonna leave again. Are you creating a life to escape from you, the reality of seeing you? Are you creating a life that you're trying to escape from? Or are you literally creating a life that you don't have to escape from? So again, going back to the fact that when you see what people are individually, what I'm breaking, I tell myself, I'm like, and the world will want me to believe out of fear. Like, think about the fact of when people live in self-hatred, they want you to fear the possibility of, like, even when you're seeing them, there's always going to be something. Or I should fear being a darker man. Just that level of thing. Or I should fear not this and not doing this and doing this. I should fear the consequences of this. What about the experience of learning through fear, where I can face everything and run, or face everything and rise from it? See, facing everything and running with fear, for some people, is trying to escape through the very thing that's familiar. But when you face everything and rise, and realizing outside of that fear or moving through that fear, it was an illusion all along. You start to realize how disempowered people become when you rise into yours. When you actually go to wars, creating a life that you deserve and desire, it disempowers people who assume that you were less valuable, or, 3/5 of a human. All this bullshit that doesn't still create my reality. It doesn't, I don't water that. Do you hear what I'm saying? I don't have to water the projections of other people. Meaning I don't have to give my energy to it. If I water that shit, it's going to grow in my life. But if I'm watering the garden of my life, rather than watering the weeds of fear, I'm watering what I love to do. I'm watering that. And the only issues with people, the weeds, or people who assume that they have access or want to have access, or issues with it, is most likely the people who don't choose to water their garden, water the parts of them that they're not trying to escape from. No, a lot of my artistry and what I create and what I've done is a part of me realizing there's something here to learn from. What is this teaching me? So I don't have to escape the dysfunctional family. I don't have to run from people. I can live in my own world and be at peace and acknowledge the fact that I'm okay. Because I don't fear nothing or fear people or fear anything. I came here to experience life. Peace and blessings. Shalom.